All right, so I told you guys I'd give you a little bit of extra credit, and this extra credit problem, once you get into it, shouldn't take you more than 10 or 15 minutes. I wouldn't think. If it does, get a hold of me and we'll walk through it together again. But I wanted to kind of give you a quick heads up on what it would be. So what we're going to do is I'm going to ask you guys in the extra credit problem to record 3 transactions. So what you'll do is you'll record getting the note, then you'll record the first 2 payments of the note. But these are different than what we've done in class. These are what we call an installment note. Okay, so an installment note is basically what you're going to see in the real world most of the time. All right, these are things like your house payment, your car payment, credit card payments, all of that stuff. Those are all installment type notes. In class, we've typically been using balloon type notes, so everything happens all at the end. Your interest expense all happens at the maturity date. Your repayment of principal happens at the maturity date. And we use those because the calculations for those are easy to understand, right? We're only ever calculating interest on a single carrying value, the $100,000 or whatever the case is. Where with an installment note, every single time you make a payment, you're going to calculate on a different carrying value. So with the installment note, part of the payment that you make each period applies to the principal, which reduces the carrying value of the note. The other part is applied to the interest expense. And since we calculate interest expense each period on the carrying value of the note, every time you make a payment, a larger and larger part will go towards the principal amount and a smaller part will go towards the interest expense. Okay, it'll make sense once we list out the amortization schedule here in a second, and that's what we use to track these payments, these amounts due, the carrying value of the note at any given point in time, the split on the payments, how much is going to principal, how much is going to interest. Okay, we create what we call an amortization schedule. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at a really quick example here. This is a 3-year installment note. So assume that the company you work for takes out a $60,000 3-year installment note with a 10% interest rate. You are going to make payments every year of $21,127, and your boss has asked you to create an amortization schedule that details the payment splits for each year of the life of the note. So what I would do is I would start by going, okay, what is my borrowed amount? And I would say, well, that's 60,000. Okay. What is my interest rate? Well, it's 10%. What is the period of time I'm going to have it? It tells us it's 3 years. And what is the amount of the payment I'm going to make each month or each year in this case? And it was $21,127, I believe. Yep, $21,127. Okay. So I would start there, and then I would begin filling in my amortization schedule. So what we'll do here is we'll say, well, year 1, January 1st, 2024, I haven't made any payments. There is no interest yet because I haven't used anything, and the principal remains the same. So we are going to enter the carrying value, $60,000. Okay. Now, what I would like you guys to do in your extra credit is make sure these are formatted correctly. So in accounting, the first line, okay, of your dollar amounts gets the accounting format treatment. $, 2 decimal places, okay? Now what's going to happen is at the end of the year on 12/31/2024, we're going to make a payment. We know how much the payment is, right? $21,127. So I'm going to go ahead and format these as $ as accounting as well, but I'm going to go to more accounting formats. And I'm going to select none for the symbol, okay? And then what I'm going to do here is I've got to calculate the interest expense. Well, the first one's easy. It is simply the amount, right, times the interest rate, which is 10, times the amount of time you've had it, right? And that's going to get us how much our interest is of our principal payment. From our payment. So $500 of this payment goes towards the interest. The remaining is going to go towards the principal. Okay. Now what I'll do is I'll say, okay, well, how much is my loan worth now? Well, it's worth the original carrying value less the principal amount. So now when we calculate interest, it's going to be on this new carrying value. Okay, so on 12/31 of 2025, we're going to have a new carrying value. And the way I'm going to do this, I am just going to take that. And what I did here is just made those absolute values so that this will never change. So I'm going to take these, I'm going to copy it down, and I'm going to put it here. Okay. And you'll notice that the amount that we're paying for principal has increased. The amount we're paying on interest has decreased. Okay. And then on 12/31/2026, right, we're going to make a new payment. Okay. Same thing can be done here. Now, what we're actually going to have to do here, you'll notice we ended up with a negative value. This is where you're going to make a plug, right? Since the payment that we make is actually greater than the carrying value, we're just going to pay on that carrying value, right? So you would have to just use a plug figure there to get that to be 0. But you see what's happening here, okay? Now, your extra credit assignment is going to be an installment note for 6 years where you make monthly payments, and you will be asked to complete the amortization schedule. Hopefully, you are following along with this and you saw the formulas that were used, and it won't take you very long at all to create a 72-month amortization schedule. And you will also have to make the journal entries for the issuance of the note, as well as the first 2 payments on the note. So if you have any questions, feel free to contact me.